This is the story of Cassidy Goodson. Early 2012, Lakeland, Florida, 14-year-old Cassidy's brother and sister noticed that she's been acting kind of strange lately. She was becoming distant at home and always staying in her room. Cassidy's classmates and friends also noticed the change. The once petite athletic girl started to look different. Cassidy was gaining weight. The summer rolled around and Cassidy is still wearing baggy sweatshirts. She's wearing sweatpants. She's not playing soccer no more. She's barely even talking to her friends. This led to a rumor around the school that her weight gain is due to her being pregnant. Cassidy's aunt got wind of this rumor and decided to call her sister Teresa, who is Cassidy's mother. When Teresa confronted Cassidy, Cassidy said, "Not only am I not pregnant, but I am still a virgin." Cassidy's mother thought her weight gain was just from her being a growing teenager and going through changes until Cassidy's other aunt came to her like, "I think you need to give her a pregnancy test or take her to the doctor because something ain't right." Teresa went out and bought a pregnancy test for Cassidy, and when it came time to take the test, she let Cassidy go in the bathroom and take the test alone. When Cassidy handed her mother the test, it was negative, and Teresa is relieved. Even though Cassidy is still wearing big clothes in the summertime, she said we can get on back to our lives. On September 17th, 2012, Cassidy fell ill. She was so sick to where she was vomiting, followed by diarrhea. The next day, on the 18th, her mother seen how sick she was and decided to make her a doctor's appointment. On the morning of September 19th, Cassidy was feeling worse than the day before. She went into the restroom that was attached to her room at around 7 a.m. She did not come out of that restroom till about 10 a.m. She went into the restroom feeling like she had to defecate. The pressure moving through her body urged her to push. She felt in between her legs and felt the head of her baby. As she's pushing, she grabbed a towel to bite down on so nobody could hear her scream. She grabbed a pair of scissors that was nearby and tried to pry the baby out of her. The baby fell in the toilet and a placenta followed. Cassidy checked to see if the baby was still alive, and when she seen that it was, she placed her hand around the baby's neck and choked him until he stopped breathing. Once she seen that the baby was no longer living, she cut the umbilical cord and cleaned herself and the baby up. It was so much blood in that bathroom that it tracked inside of her room as well. At around 1 p.m., Teresa goes to check on Cassidy and see that she looks drained and tired. She also sees the blood in and around the toilet seat. That's when she decides to take Cassidy to the emergency room. The doctor told her that Cassidy showed signs of a miscarriage and that she had 5 lacerations on the inner wall of her vagina. That same visit, Cassidy decided to go along with the miscarriage story and told her mother, "Yes, I indeed had a miscarriage, and I flushed the fetus down the toilet without looking." Cassidy was treated and sent home. On September 22nd, just a couple days later, Teresa was collecting all of the dirty clothes from her children, something that she always does. When she got to Cassidy's room, she smelt a foul odor. When she got to her dirty clothes hamper, she seen wet, bloody clothes. She's thinking it's just clothes from the miscarriage. As she's separating the wet clothes, at the bottom is a shoebox. Inside that shoebox was her grandson, wrapped in a bag. In a panic, she called her sister, who's Cassidy's aunt. And the aunt is the one who called the police. When asked why she went through such great lengths to hide this pregnancy, she said that she did not want her relationship with her mother to change. The autopsy report showed that the baby was full term, 9.5 pounds, 20 inches long. The cause of death was strangulation. The boy she was pregnant by was also a teenager and they attended the same school. They was no longer in communication, so he had no idea that she was pregnant. They asked, was it consensual? And she said it was. On September 27th, Cassidy was officially charged with taking her newborn's life. The next month, in October, they decided to try her as an adult. Now, with her being only 14, the death penalty was off the table, but she was facing life in prison. But just so happened that earlier that same year, a U.S. Supreme Court ruling determined that mandatory life sentences for minors were unconstitutional. In December of 2012, Cassidy was offered a plea deal, and she took it. She pled guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 18 months in a maximum juvenile facility, and she also had to complete a program as well. Her mother stood by her side the whole time. She said Cassidy has always been a good kid. When Cassidy got out from doing her time, not everybody was so welcoming. She lost a lot of friends. She even got some death threats. Last I seen of Cassidy, she was married and she went on to have two daughters. What y'all think? Yellow. I'm on a fence with this one. Yeah, she was 14. She was young. She was scared, but she also knew better. I get you was scared when you was young, but damn, killing the baby. I, what y'all think?